At 6:01, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you would, please rise. If you would, pray with me, please. Father, we thank you for this day, and Father, we thank you for the season. Father, may we ever be mindful of those that are less fortunate. And Father, may we be salt and light to the world. And Father, we just pray that you be here in this meeting, Father, and help us to make the decisions we need to make, Father. Please keep everyone safe during the Christmas season, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Ask Councilmember Gonzalez to lead us in the prayer. In the pledge.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor and Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You may be seated. Okay. Tonight we have no proclamations, awards, or presentations. We move to the consent agenda.
I move that we remove number H, I, and K from the consent.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to remove H, I, and K. Motion in a second. Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, we will approve the consent agenda with what is left.
I move for approval.
A motion, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving what's left of the consent, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. First item that was removed from consent agenda is consider a contract approval of the upgrade of the Motorola Land mobile radio system. Ms. Walker.
I don't have a problem with wanting this removed, but I did want it removed because, number one, it's a good plan. People need to know what our plan is, and it's a lot of money, and
Yes, ma'am.
just want to educate the people a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. The approval of this item will allow the city of Odessa to enter into a contract with Motorola Solutions to replace our Motorola Land mobile radio system. This upgrade will provide the city with the 800 megahertz simulcast system, which will replace our current system that is end of life. We will be upgrading 4 locations. One at the plaza will be our dispatch center. They will be receiving consoles. We'll also be upgrading the consoles at the EOC, which is located at the police department. We will also be replacing a lot of the equipment at our Pool Road Tower and also our Troy Road Tower. We will be upgrading it to the simulcast functionality. The proposal also includes upgrading our 911 voice radio recording system, replacing its hardware and software, and we will also be reprogramming all of our radios. The proposal does not include replacing our radios, just the heart of the radio system. The total cost of this project is $2,726,000. I had budgeted $2,791,748 with the savings of $65,748. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Okay.
Now, at the end of 2 years, are we going to have to go out and buy all new equipment again?
No, ma'am. We're looking at having a maintenance. After we sign this, then we will enter into a maintenance agreement with also what's called a SUA2 that allows for the hardware and the software to be upgraded every 2 years. And we can take that and do it whenever we want. So, but we have the option every 2 years to upgrade the hardware and the software.
Any more questions?
Can you explain a little bit about how much more efficient it's going to make the, all of the police department, the firefighters, and everything else?
Currently, our unit or our system operates on 2 different towers. They work independently of each other, and so when an officer or a firefighter keys up on the radio, it does a vote to decide which one, well, the simulcast will do that. This system works independently of each other. With the simulcast system, when the officer keys up their microphone, it actually keys up both towers at the same time. And then that way, it does a voting to decide the best tower to be on. And so also the simulcast system helps with indoor coverage. So like at the mall, we've had problems with interference there. This will help that.
Great. Any other questions or comments from council?
Great job. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
I had asked for I and K to be removed, but strictly because the recipient of the contract, I will need to abstain from the vote. Other than that, I appreciate, Mr. Wells, the job that you do very much so, and on these I need to abstain.
Okay, item I is consider renewal of the group life, second of a 3-year contract. Is there any questions? Mr. Wells, would you like to present any of it?
Mayor, City Council,
Did you win or did she win?
I was confused. I thought she said stand up when she actually said shut up.
Tell Nancy I commend you.
She did a really good job. She got a calligraphy against some parchment paper and framed a little thing to put in the kitchen where it says, shut up, she explained. In any event, the city of Odessa, as almost all cities our size, provides life insurance to all of our employees. Ours is set up to be 1.5 or 1.5 times base salary with an accidental death amendment, so that if they're killed in that by accident, it doubles that. There are some other types of insurance available, but in effect, for things like the 2007 fatalities in our police department, all of those are for 3 times salary for their life insurance. This was last put out for bids last year on a 3-year deal, and so we're basically renewing it for the 2nd year of that. The next one that was pulled off was the public entity liability insurance. This is sort of a package policy. It includes what in the insurance business is called general liability for all of the premises and operations that the city conducts. It also includes automobile liability. As you know, we have a very large fleet of all kinds of vehicles that we operate on the streets. It also includes law enforcement liability. It also includes public officials liability for you folks up there on the podium. It also includes things like EMT malpractice, employment practices liability, and frankly, just a host of other things. It's all put together in one package. Both the life insurance, which I mentioned a moment ago, and the public entity liability are brokered through local agents. In the case of life insurance, it's STA Benefits, which is Steve Thompson's brokerage. And in the case of the public entity, it's through InSource, which is the formerly known as Bogey and Dunlap.
Are there any questions on item I? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes with 1 abstention. Do we have a motion to consider renewal of the public entity liability insurance?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously, with 1 abstention. Next, we move to other council actions and move to bid awards. Consider a bid award for the proposed installation of a spray ground at UTPB. Mr. Pack.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have some pictures of the spray ground, the proposed spray ground that's over to the left. I think I also attached that to the agenda item itself. This is a project that's been in the making for quite some time, and I'm glad to announce that we have the Junior League as a partnership in this project for a commitment of $100,000 towards the project itself. And as a reminder, they did the same commitment with our previous spray ground in McKinney Park several years ago. The spray ground itself is dinosaur themed, and it is Junior League Jurassic Jungle is the name of the spray ground itself. And that was chosen by a committee comprised of advisory board members, staff, as well as the Junior League members. And we went through a proposal process, and as we came upon the theme, the Junior League and this committee chose Junior League Jurassic Jungle as the spray ground. And the theme in particular that was chosen is Whitewater, and that group is the one that's doing the main structure. We added some spray heads, and enclosures and some landscape areas, and put the price out there as $2.5 million is the engineer's estimate. And we have one bid that was received. It's from Atlantis, and the base bid is for $2,478,540, and they are doing some work in the area. They've done this type of work before, and we checked the references, very satisfied with the type of work that they've done. We're recommending 2 alternates, which is Fountain Lights, which is an integral part of the leaping fountains as well as the cascading and jumping fountains. That will get them light in the evenings. We can do movies in the park, and also have a lighted display. I think it will be great for entertainment value. And then our pedestrian lights, we don't have any lights in the immediate area. So to get to the space safely, we want to make sure that we've got lights from the east parking lot by the soccer fields going westward all the way to this area. Now this is a 181 diameter foot of gravel area on the west portion of UTPB Park. It was designed back in 1992 as to be a second playground, but we at that time didn't have the funding to make that happen, so it has been gravel since that time. It's a great space. Our Parks and Recreation Master Plan does recommend that we do have some aquatic facility for the north and the east side of Odessa. We have none at this point. I think McKinney Park with this spray ground easily takes care of the needs in west and south Odessa. And it's an incredible facility. Glad to have the partnership, and we recommend that the award bid go to Atlantis Group with the base bid along with the 2 alternates in the amount of, let me see, that would be $2,569,190.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Patton?
What's the completion date estimated to be?
We want to have it open this year. So our discussions,
2017?
well, I mean 2017, the swim year, this upcoming swim year. That's quick. So our discussions from day one have been late June, early part of July, I think is a reasonable time frame. If we hit some bad weather in the spring to make this happen, but that right now is our time frame to make that happen. Wow.
Any more questions for Mr. Patton?
We've already started the fabrication process on the big piece. It's been under construction now since September.
Great. Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
And before you go, Starlight Village is beautiful. Thank you. Thank your department for all the work that they've done.
Thank you. I'll pass that along.
Okay, next is consider bid award for the construction of a new parking lot at UTPB.
That's correct. This is badly needed. A new parking lot that would be located on the west portion of UTPB Park. We've got a drill site that is near the 42nd Street that is on the west side of the park. And this parking lot would be 82 spaces just to the south of that particular drill site. Now, the location of this particular parking lot is very strategic, and it's going to help the girls' fast pitch softball complex tournaments, as well as the parking is going to be desperately needed for this spray ground. Now, they're parking all over this area right now, and it's just dirt. And I think it's going to be a great contribution to take care of all the overflow from the tournaments that we're having at the athletic facilities. If y'all been by during the Odessa Soccer Association tournament, they're pushing 10,000 kids through that park. And there's people parking in the ditches, on the medians, in the I mean, everywhere, it's out of control. We're really short on parking at this particular park, especially in tournament time. Now we add a big feature like this, we're gonna need even as much more parking as we could ever handle. So, we did have a very competitive bid process, and we make the recommendation that the board go to Reese Albert in the amount of $255,189.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Patton? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion, second. Okay, motion and second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Great
Thank you,
work.
Mr. Patton.
Thank y'all.
Good job.
Next, we'll move to public hearings. We'll open a public hearing to consider the approval of the request by Real Property Resources. Mr. Brennan.
Name again, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The city mailed out 27 notices related to this request. We had no notices returned, and we did not receive a positive or a negative response related to the request. The property involved in the request is located east of the intersection of North Evans Boulevard and East 91st Street. Site is currently designated future development. It is vacant, and land use in the area does consist of residential property and vacant land. The applicant and the owner of the property in this case is Real Property Resources, and the purpose of the request would create 32 single-family residential lots, and the lot sizes range from 5,700 square feet all the way up to 16,500 square feet. It would also create a drill reservation in this area. This area is located in a northern area of the city's future land use map, and it is considered one of the prime areas for new residential growth in the city. And the zoning requested for this site would be considered an appropriate zoning for the site, and it is also appropriate for the proposed development's design, would be consistent with the city's priority for attractive, safe, and connected roadways. The Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval to this request with the following conditions. The minimum lot size would be 5,700 square feet. The front yard building setbacks would be 20 feet, and there would be a 15-feet front yard setback in cul-de-sacs. The side yard building setback would be 5 feet. Side yard setback adjacent to a side street would be 10 feet. And a rear yard building setback of 5 feet would be required on properties without an adjacent alley. The maximum lot coverage would be, for the primary residential building, would be 50%, and the overall maximum lot coverage for all combined buildings would be 60%. Maximum building height would not exceed 2 stories. Side entry garages would be required for lots that are on thoroughfares, and these lots are listed as lots 15 and 16 of block 62, and driveway entrances for lots that are adjacent to East 100th Street, and these are lots 14 and 18 of block 62, and also lots 1 and 12 of block 48 would not be allowed. And any significant change from the approved site plan would require a site plan amendment, and also adoption of this site plan. And the planning staff does concur with the commission's recommendation for approval, and be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, do you have any questions for Mr. Brennan?
There will be alleys.
No, ma'am, not on this one.
Not on this
Not
one.
on this one.
No alleys.
No, ma'am, that's why the lots are a little bit bigger, and due to compensate for not having that.
Okay.
All the utilities will be in the front.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you okay with that?
For now.
Okay.
I move for
We'll change it
approval.
later.
Second.
Motion for approval and a second. Any more discussion? This is a public hearing, so at this time I will open up the floor for any public comment on this agenda item. If you would, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. We do have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Brennan.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, consider authorizing the abandonment of a portion of a street right-of-way. Irvine.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Real Property Resources has requested that the city abandon a 4.03 acre portion of street right-of-way east of Desert Avenue along 95th Street in North Park, Addition 13 Farming. The street right-of-way was dedicated by plat, and the abandonment will facilitate the residential development. It is our recommendation to approve this item.
Are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So, second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, consider an ordinance to establish a reduced speed school zone. Mr. Feldman.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is for a new additional reduced speed zone at Austin Elementary. It'll be located on Lee Street between basically 8th and 10th Street. The school has requested that traffic engineering went out and study this location for a reduced speed zone. It's typical in that the school district buys the equipment, the city installs and maintains it. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, when do they plan on doing this with other schools, the study?
What we typically do is, when I say we, I mean traffic engineering. What we do is we usually go out at the beginning of the school year. That's when everything changes at the beginning of every school. That's when we usually go out and where we've had previous requests from schools and they haven't warranted, that's the ones we usually target and look at every year.
So again, y'all don't do every school like this, or is this just specific schools? So how do you pick the school that you're gonna do a study on to?
It's from either a request that the school says, look at our area, or it's where we've had numerous requests from schools and they've never met in the past. So we keep looking at those ones to see if a lot of the schools are getting more and more students, which means more and more students and more traffic, which are two good indicators to get that warrant up to warrant for a speed zone.
Any more questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Feldman. Next, consider amending city contributions to the Odessa Firefighter Relief and Retirement Fund. Chief Land.
Mayor, because of my securities license, I will have to abstain from this.
Okay. You gotta be nice to me now. You're not throwing mayor jokes in this thing.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Pat Land. With me is Ben Marks. We're trustees of the Odessa Firefighters Relief and Retirement Fund Board of Trustees. I currently serve as the chairman of the board. And the purpose of this agenda item is to consider amending city code to establish the city's contribution rate to the Odessa Firefighters Relief and Retirement Fund at 20% to the active, 20% of the active members' wages. In the effort to comply with state legislative changes regarding the Texas Local Firefighters Retirement Act, current active firefighters by majority vote have elected to substantially reduce benefits and increase employee contributions beginning January 1, 2017. The city's amended contribution rate would further aid in meeting the requirements set forth in the legislative requirements. Be happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
Any questions?
What is the firefighter's contribution rate going, what is it presently now, and what is it going to?
The employees is currently 15%, and it would be going to at 18%.
Without the city's participation, it would go to 22%?
Yes.
Correct. So we're basically buying down their participation from 22% to 18%.
Other questions?
Well, you know, we've all read the horror stories, Dallas and all, and I really want to compliment our Odessa firemen for what y'all are doing. Defined benefit plans are very, very important to personnel that work with cities, counties, such. And I think it's really neat the way y'all are working, and we'll get this the way it ought to be. And like I say, I compliment you. I'm very proud of it.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
And motion and second, discussion?
Yeah, we're not in trouble like the rest of the world is, and we have got some hiccups, but y'all are taking care of it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes with 4 and 1 abstention. Next, consider adding section 12-3-15 entitled Parking in Undeveloped Lots. Mr. Long.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the second reading for this ordinance which regulates parking on undeveloped lots. At the last session, the council expressed concern over providing proper notification prior to the issuance of tickets, and Vanessa is going to explain what we've done to remedy that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Final approval of this ordinance would add section 12-3-15, which makes it unlawful for any person to park any commercial or non-commercial vehicle, trailer, or boat in undeveloped lots or unpaved surfaces in certain zoning districts. We did add a requirement that notice of violation be placed on the vehicle, boat, or trailer, as well as mailed to the last known registered owner and the owner of the occupant of the property. And citizens are given 10 days to remove the violation before the citation can be issued by the city.
Okay, are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
A motion is second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, consider amending Article 1-1 of the City of Odessa Code of Ordinances. Mr. Long.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is for the second reading. The City of Odessa currently has fines for traffic up to $200. We have other violations other than traffic, but not health and safety, up to $500. And for the health and safety violations, up to $2,000. We're trying to amend certain portions of that to bring that in line. And Vanessa will explain that.
Final approval of this amendment would authorize the city to assess a fine not to exceed $2,000 for violations of the minimum building standards and property maintenance code that deal with public health and sanitation. All other provisions of the ordinance would be assessed a fine not to exceed $500.
Okay, are there any questions?
What does the right of entry mean in number 8? What's that? What does that mean in the ordinance?
That the officers have the ability to go onto the property to assess the violations.
Okay, any more questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next, number 9, consider adoption of the 2012 International Building Codes and amendments. Ms. Shaw.
Mayor, before Vanessa starts, may I
Sure.
have the floor for a second? I wanted to commend Vanessa. I was approached with a situation approximately 2 weeks ago of an individual that had just had her gas turned off and was getting it fixed and could not get it on quick enough for her husband who had just had chemo. And I called Vanessa, and I cannot commend you enough. This was something that happened probably about 2 o'clock, and by 5 o'clock, he was restored in the house. So, very grave situation, so thank you very much for what you do.
It's definitely a team effort. Did you hear that,
Well,
Michael?
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I actually have the next 7 items. They're to update our building codes from 2006 to 12, with the exception of the National Electrical Code, which will go to 2014. The first item is the update of the International Building Code and our local amendments, and I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Do we have any questions?
I remember in our conversation that you had explained to us that we're pretty much already there with everything that we're doing now, right?
We accept 2012 and 2015 now. If people wish to submit that, we review to that right now. So we do accept it.
Okay, we do have a citizen who would like to speak, Cindy Lewis. She's actually from Mesquite, but welcome to Odessa. We'll allow you 3 minutes to talk.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Cindy Lewis. I work for the International Code Council. I'm the Government Relations Regional Manager for Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And I definitely want to commend the City of Odessa for their consideration of the adoption of the 2012 International Codes. The 2015 international codes would be by preference. The 2018 codes are going to be published within a year or so. Most of the jurisdictions in the state of Texas have moved to the 2015 codes. And I just want to thank you, and I appreciate your consideration for the adoption of these codes. They're very important life safety codes. We are a 60,000 member organization. The codes are adopted in all 50 states, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Capitol uses them, the Department of Defense. And of course, Texas is a home rule state, so every jurisdiction can adopt whichever code edition that they would like to. Some states adopt the code statewide, like the state of Oklahoma, they're under the 2015 code. And the other state I have, which is Arkansas, is under the 2012. But most of the jurisdictions in Texas are moving to the 2015, but I do appreciate your consideration of adoption of these important life safety codes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your coming out.
Thank you.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Are we doing all 7 at once, or are we doing each one at a time?
Can we do all 7 at once?
I think we are.
Yeah, you can do it. If you want to, if you would just list out which ones you're going to be approving and vote on all of them.
Is there anything just absolutely mind-boggling that you need to tell us about 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15?
No, sir, it's pretty straightforward.
I
I would
see.
like to address the comment that the lady made before me. We do have a plan to be on the 18 codes by 18. We just fell significantly far behind, so we're trying to incrementally step it in as opposed to just going from 6 to 15 immediately. So it's a plan, it's a stepped-out plan, but we'll get there. We'll be there on time.
Great, thank you.
Great work.
Good job.
Sure.
I move for approval then of number 9 through 15, the adoption of the various codes.
Okay,
I'll second that.
move to second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
The vote is 4-1. Okay, next we move to resolution. Number 16, consider authorizing the abandonment of an alley right-of-way located in Moreno Addition. Move on.
Thank you, Mayor. Daniel Moreno, property owner, has requested that the city abandon a .11 acre alley right-of-way east of South Kelly Avenue and south of West Murphy Avenue. The alley right-of-way was dedicated by plat, but the utility lines were never constructed. The right-of-way abandonment will facilitate a residential development, and it is our recommendation to approve this item.
Okay, any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, consider authorizing the abandonment of a portion of the alley right-of-way.
Eco Energy Investments Incorporated has requested that the city abandon a .16 acre portion of alley right-of-way east of East Loop 338 and south of Royal Road. The city will retain the general utility easement over the entire property, and Eco Energy and Investments Incorporated has agreed to the compensation due for this abandonment. It is our recommendation to approve this item.
Any questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain.
You abstain? Okay. Number 18, consider amending the budget for fiscal year 2016-17, appropriate additional funds from the general fund to provide an increase in the city contributions to the Odessa Firefighters Relief and Retirement Fund. Chief Lane.
Mayor, if you don't mind, I'll take that one.
Okay.
Basically, what we're asking you to do is amend the current year budget by $392,651 to cover the increased contribution from the city as previously approved in the other item. You need to know that this is an amendment to this year's budget, but that the annual cost is roughly, it's close to $500,000, and there's at least a 10-year commitment moving forward. So we'll have to find that money in the budget.
Okay. Are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I will need to abstain.
You will abstain? Okay. Motion passes 4 with 1 abstention. Number 19, consider approval of second amendment of the restated Summit Texas Clean Energy Economic Development Agreement. Mr. Long.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Summit Texas Clean Energy has requested that we approve a second amended and restated Summit Texas Clean Energy Economic Development Agreement and its Exhibit A irrevocable guarantee agreement. The new agreement would remove the provision of reference to $450 million from a federal grant. It would remove the requirement to have a 400 megawatt plant. It would extend the agreement to the end of 2017. It still would require 125 jobs to be generated with $5 million in payroll, and it anticipates an investment of over $2 billion. The city would, if it was brought to fruition, owe $5 million to them at the date of full employment. So after they begin commercial operation, then we would distribute the $5 million that had been previously appropriated by OVC and the city council.
Okay. Are there any questions or discussion? Mr. Long?
I do. When this originated, it was, the big thing was, this is going to be a clean air, zero emissions power plant. And the big deal was it was going to be a power plant. We were going to be a big example. People were going to come from all over the world, from China and all over, to see our power plant. And then later on they added, well, all this waste that we've got from it, well, we'll take and we'll make urea. And then, well, we've got an opportunity to sell our CO2 for the oil field. Well, to me, this is not the same thing. This is not at all the same thing that our agreement was. It was a power plant. They've taken the power plant out of that. Fine, I think it's great that you want to come, you want to do this, you want to have people employed, but it needs to be a brand new contract. One with an urea plant, not an old power plant. So that's my problem with this. I think it needs to go to compliance, and you need to start at square one. I just don't see it as being the same contract. It's not the same ball game as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Other
I move
comments?
for a question.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
The vote passes 3-2. Next, consider the renewal of the Odessa Country Club Industrial District. Mr. Long.
Natasha is going to handle this for the legal department. As a matter of fact.
Why does he sit up here?
I know it.
I'm not going to do.
In keeping with the example that Vanessa had said, she's going to handle the rest of the industrial districts that are proposed under the agenda.
Good evening, council, mayor, city council. My name is Natasha Brooks, and I'm a senior city attorney in the law office of Mr. Larry Long. And regarding the industrial district contracts, these following industries will make payments to the city in lieu of annexation, and they will receive a commitment from the city that we won't annex them during the term of their contract. An industry located outside the city limits must be in an industrial district to receive utility services from the city of Odessa. So regarding the Odessa Country Club Industrial District, this Odessa Country Club Renewal Industrial District Agreement is for the standard 7 years. So it'll begin January 1st, 2016 and continue through December 31st, 2023. This property is located on East Highway 80.
Are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Consider the approval of industrial district with RexTac.
This ResTech contract is a new contract. Although the property had been previously covered by an industrial district agreement under the Flint Hills, the term of an economic development agreement with ResTech provided that in the event of termination of the Flint Hills industrial district agreement over the property, ResTech would enter into an industrial district agreement to cover the property. The Flint Hills contract has term, therefore it is necessary to enter the subject contract, which has a term of 7 years through December 31st, 2023. This property is located at 2800 RX Avenue along East Hammond Drive at the southernmost part of what was formerly FHR's East Plant in between South Grandview and South JBS Parkway.
Okay, are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain, please.
Okay, we have 4 approvals and 1 abstention. Next, consider industrial district renewal with Odessa Ector Power Partners.
OEPP's original industrial district agreement was for a 15-year term, which ran from January 1st, 2000 through December 31st, 2015. Last year, the industrial district agreement was extended for 1 year in order for the city to determine whether the OEPP property would be annexed. A decision was made not to annex the OEPP property. The industrial district renewal was then negotiated for a 10-year term instead of the 15-year term that was requested. The term of this renewal is from January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2026.
Okay.
And this property is located on the south of Interstate 20.
Okay, are there any questions?
What part of Interstate 20? Where exactly, do you know?
I have a map.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any more questions?
No, he hasn't finished yet.
Yeah, I should-
I'm good, thank you.
There's all of them, and there's OEPs.
I appreciate it.
She said you could keep the.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Brooks.
She'll sign them after.
I move
after the meeting.
I move
You mean, you're giving away city property?
Okay, we have a motion for approval, we have a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, consider renewal of the Black Gold Oilfield Services Industrial District.
Black Gold's original industrial district agreement was for a 7-year term. This renewal is only for 1 year, with the term beginning January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2017, in order to bring this property in line with Industrial District Number 2, which is set to expire December 31st, 2017. And the plan at the end of 2014 was to reconsider the Industrial District Number 2 area for annexation in 2017.
Okay, any questions?
What's the benefit of us not annexing?
We're gonna bring, it makes sense for us to bring all of annex our properties at the same time. So what we are planning to do is bring all of those in at one time. So when it ends, we wanna bring all of the annexations in.
There also seems to be some things that need to be done in the next year to bring it into.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion and second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, consider the renewal of industrial districts from ARCO environmental remediation.
The renewal industrial agreement for each of these three companies is for a term of 4 years in order to bring them in line with future annexation plans. We're working on the 3-year annexation plan. The term of each industrial district is from January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2020. The Arco property is located north of Highway 191 and east of Loop 338, north of the Chimney Rock development. It is a remediation site. Our office understands from personnel at Arco that their portion of the remediation is almost complete, after which Chevron will do some remediation. JTF is located on Highway 80 west of the Odessa Country Club Industrial District, and Mueller is located at 5600 North Andrews Highway.
Okay, are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Motion. Second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, under miscellaneous, appointment of boards and appointment of officers, Mr. Mulder.
For the Odessa Development Corporation, reappoint Jim Bro. For the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, reappoint Cliff DeHarmon.
Okay. Are there any comments on these? If not, I'll entertain a
Could you
motion.
repeat those again? I didn't hear them, I'm sorry.
Sure. For the Odessa Development Corporation, the appointment is for District 2, Jimmy Bro. For the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, the appointment is for the mayors, and it's Cliff DeArmond.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Give a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Jimmy Bros on board again.
Great son of front row next time.
Items 27 and 28, I'd like to table until
Make a
January.
motion to table to January.
Can we have a motion? Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We have no more cards for citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Have a very Merry Christmas, and we are adjourned.